What's up? It's your girl, the Black Diamond Misfit, and it's Monday, the day after Mother's Day. And this is story time. I wanted to talk to you about myself. She Fancy, huh? Ms. Fancy Wigs and Black Diamond Misfit. I want to talk to you guys about myself. So, after I had my first son in 1987, a few years later, um, like in 1993, going 1992, I met somebody, which um, I ended up marrying him after the fact. I had a son, and that was 1993. And then 1994, I had a daughter. And then 1995, I had another daughter by my husband. My husband of my three kids. Okay, we were together for almost 7 years. Okay, so this is going to be one of those quick, fast story times. We were together for like almost 7 years. And when I met him, I did smoke cigarettes. He smoked cigarettes too. I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't a drinker like that. I didn't do that when we were together. But he did. But a lady knocked on the door, and she was talking to me about the Bible. And when I found out that having, smoking cigarettes was bad, I quit. That next Bible study, I had quit. But my husband at the time, he was still smoking. And now I have three kids, and he's still drinking, he's still smoking. We're having Bible studies and stuff like that. But I'm guessing he wasn't into it at that time. But I was. So I guess I was no good to him at that point, because now I'm not drinking. I don't curse. I'm not cursing at the time. I'm not smoking cigarettes. So um, he went to work. He was going to work at a facility, like a convalescent home. He was the dishwasher or the cook. I'm not sure which one. And he wound up meeting somebody there, and he had an affair that was going on for God knows, I have no idea how long. But the affair lasted to where he came home, and he came home late, and he was drunk asleep, and I was checking his pockets to see, and I'm pregnant now. I was pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant. I'm checking to see, if I could find a number or anything. But there was a hotel key. So it's like, what the? And I said, and I wasn't driving at the time. I didn't have a car. I didn't even have my license at the time. I was going on 26. I didn't have a license. I was going on 26. And I'm pregnant at the time. So I had to call a cab. I called a cab so that way they can bring me to the hotel. They brought me to the cab, brought me to the hotel. I took the key, opened it while I'm pregnant. I had him, he was asleep, but, and the kids were asleep. And I told the cab man to wait. So I go in, and the bed sheets are all messed up, everything. So I get back, I take the sheets with me, and again, the cat get back in the car. I'm sobbing, I'm crying. I get back home, and I'm like, "What's this? What's this key? What's this? I was just there." Well, we wind up breaking up after that. He wind up impregnating this girl after that, while I was still married to him. Did that break my heart? It sure enough did. It broke my heart because I couldn't believe it. Like, I'm pregnant. I have another little girl. She's just turning 1. Then I have my other son. He's just turning 2. And then I had my other son. I think he was like maybe 8. I think at that time. So it was hard for me. So we broke up. But I wind up getting my license that next month later, and I wind up going to work. I went to McDonald's for a little while. I met a lot of people, some close friends that I met that we're close friends now. Well, one of them we're very close friends. We're like sisters, and I wind up going to school, to nursing school, getting nurse's aid. So I quit McDonald's and went to nurse's aid, and I worked there. I worked for being a nurse's aide for maybe about a good 10 years. 10 years I worked for nurse's aide, different facilities. I worked for a pool, and but once my grandmother died, that I didn't, I really wasn't feeling it. But so now I got a car. I got my license. I got a car. I wound up getting a few cars after that. God was blessing me unconditionally. I didn't cry anymore. Life was actually really good. I mean, I was living my life and my children's life. We were going to church. We were going to the hall. I really had some good kids to where they didn't make any noise when we were at church and stuff like that. It was really a good part of it. It was a really a good part of my life that was good, even though people probably it should have been bad because or not should have been bad, or I would have thought it was bad because you and your husband had broke up and you were getting divorced. But actually, Jehovah, He blessed me and my children more than what we more than what we even prayed for. Because I had cars coming out the yin yang. I had moved out of Cromwell. I moved to another house, to another apartment, but it was nice. I mean, it was getting greater every time I moved or did anything. It was just always good. So now we wind up getting divorced, and no, he didn't have no part of the kids. He didn't have no parts of the kids whatsoever. And it's not fair. It wasn't fair. He didn't help me at all. Yeah, I got child support, but that wasn't enough. I remember when I asked him, I begged him, I said, listen, if you don't have any money, I will give you money so you could take them out, for a little while, to the park, get some ice cream. And he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to Meriden. I'm not doing that. And after, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm going to let you handle this, God, because it was so hurtful. But I didn't tell my kids. I never talked bad talk about him, in front of my kids. Now, when it first happened, yeah, I was mad. I was spit out any doggone thing, but my kids were young and they didn't hear any of that, because, it just happened. I admit, when it all happened, I would say some crazy stuff about, their father, but not to them. It would be over the phone or to the person who was over, or I was at their house talking to them, you know what I mean? Talking to them, but when it happened, it was quick, and after that, I got over it. So it's nothing like I did it like for years and years and years, and I talked bad about the father. No, I didn't do that. I didn't. I always said, I'm going to let my children see how he is. I'm not going to, add to it. So now my kids are teenagers. My son's a teenager. My daughter's a teenager. One of my daughters is a teenager, and they're going through a rough time. But I'm gonna back it up. They're going through a rough time, and it wasn't like that in the beginning. Until when I had a fire, we were the house that we had before the fire. I mean, my kids thought we were rich. They thought that I was rich, and the person who I was with was rich. So now I'm gonna back it up just a minute. So after I married my husband, we got divorced, and mind you, if you are a fan of mine and you were watching my videos, I told you about my son that when I got pregnant with him, I didn't know I was pregnant. And we did a blood test, come to find out it was the person who I was with on Valentine's Day, my childhood sweetheart. So if you're a fan, you understand where I'm going to go with this. So now my son is 13 years old, and when state asks, I was on state for food stamps, not for cash. When state asks for child support, you have to do a blood test when they're, because my person who I said that the person who I thought it was down south, but they did a blood test, and no, he wasn't. But you guys know that because I already told you. So now the person who is the father, they did the blood test and everything, and I'm at the house and everything, and now I have to tell my son. So I told him, and he wasn't mad or anything like that. I mean, I told him. He actually really had the best of both worlds, because the person who I was that I was pregnant by, we were all basically, back then we were just all friends. We didn't care about who was with who or anything like that. It was a family. It was a family that nobody would ever understand unless you were there. That's the only thing I could say. We were a family. We were just all a family. No, I didn't hop on a member and do all this. It was not like that. It was just that we were just all a family. That's the only way I could say it. So he had the best of both worlds. He had this side of the family, and he also had this side of the family. And after I told my son, the person who was his father, he asked me to marry him. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll marry you. You know what I mean? So that way my son doesn't think that, he wasn't wanted. You know what I mean? Because I got pregnant one time, Valentine's Day. After that, I didn't even see this person anymore, So I was like, yeah, I'm going to marry you. So we got married. But now, mind you, this person was in jail. He did like maybe 5 years straight or whatever like that, maybe, or longer, or maybe 5 or 6 years. And now I'm still young, okay? Not in the 19s or nothing like that, but I'm still in my 20s, and I didn't have people in my life to show me, and tell me, okay, Sandy, you shouldn't just. I just went on emotions and honestly best interest. So and at this time, I really don't know him like that. This is what I'm thinking to myself after the fact. And I was like, yeah, we got married, but it didn't. We got married, and it didn't even last, not even 5 months. Okay, so it was basically an annulment. Okay, it was annulment, so just as fast as it happened, just as fast as it went, it was annulled. So now, from that on in, now it's the 90s. It's going into going into the year 2000s. It's 2000s now, and I'm working at my grandmother, my abuela had passed. I didn't want to work at the convalescent home anymore. I didn't want to work with the convalescent home, things like that. I didn't want to do it because it made me sad. It made me think about my abuela, and I just didn't want to do it no more. So I stopped working over there, and I forgot where I was working at after that. But my son, he asked me to bring him to Taco Bell after school. I was like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. I think it came from work. I don't know where I was at. I said, okay, he said, I'll buy you something. I said, ooh, okay, let's go. Hey, we're going to get some tacos. So we go to Taco Bell, and a guy with a down south accent gets on the speaker, says, "Yeah, welcome to Taco Bell." I'm gonna try to say, "Welcome to Taco Bell. May I take your order?" or something like that. Well, I can't really say how he did, but this person, he had a deep Floridian accent. I was like, "Oh my god." And I fell in love with the voice. I was like, "Holy crap." And my son was like, "Ma, you better not." I was like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to get his number. Oh my god." And my son said, "You better not." So I was like, "All right, all right." So we get up to the thing to order the food. I mean, to give them the money for the food, and I see, and I was like, "Oh my god." I was just starstruck because I just love down south accents and everything. And he was like, "Hey, hey, how you doing? Just steady talking and everything. He gives me, I give him the change, the money for the food. I take the food, and after I was like, "Okay, bye." And I drive off. He said, "Hey, hold up, hold up." He's like, "You forgot your change." I was like, "Oh." So I take the change, and I was like, "Damn, I thought he was gonna ask me for his number." So my son was like, and I'm glad that he didn't. So I was like, "You're a hater." So that's where I was. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts down the street. So I drop off my son, and that evening I had to go to work. I was working at Dunkin' Donuts down the street. I was a shift manager, and nighttime shift manager. And I was telling this girl about the person who I seen at Taco Bell. She was like, "What? Say word, because I know somebody that works there." I was like, "Yeah, yeah." She goes, "No, for real, I do. I'm gonna." I said, she said, I'm gonna tell him to come down here or get your number." I was like, "Yeah, right." So I'm over here, doing my Dunkin' Donuts thing, getting the coffees, doing whatever like this. She was like, "Hey, Sandy, guess what?" I was like, "What?" She goes, "You know that boy that you was telling me about over there at Taco Bell? He's coming down here now." I was like, "Yeah, right." She said, "Yeah, I told him about it. I told him about you. He's coming down here now." I was like, "Yeah, right." He said, "Matter of fact, there he is now." I said, "How do you know that's even him?" He said, "Because he has a Taco Bell uniform on." I said, "Oh my god, I couldn't believe it." So I was hiding behind the machine. Now, mind you, I'm shy. I told you I was not out there like that. I was shy, hiding behind the machine. I'm talking to him. He was like, "Hey, what's up? What's good? What's good?" And I was like, "Nothing." I'm hiding behind the machine and everything. He was like, "Yo, come out from behind the machine. I want to talk to you. What's good?" I was like, "Oh my god." I was just. If I was, I'm sorry, of another color, I would be turning red. And so I did give him his number. I mean, I did get his number, and I gave him mine, and we ended up getting married. We were together for like 2 years, and then we got married the third year. And we traveled. We traveled all the time to Florida. Um, and with the kids, we took the kids to Disney World, and the kids thought we were rich. The kids thought, because there was nothing that they did not have. Like, they had everything. I had cars at the Yin Yang. I was good, and the family was good. So we wind up having a house fire, and we wind up having to move to a street where, even though I was born in, well, not born, I was basically almost raised in this certain town. I had no idea that where we moved to was a bad neighborhood with gang people and stuff like that. So we were in the hotel for a minute until I found something, and then try to make life where we ended up at. Well, my kids, one of my daughters and my son always were fighting every time they went to the store, but I never knew that because I was in the house or or at work or whatever. So until I came out one day and I seen my son fighting, and I mean, there's people all around, and it's at my house. And I'm like, "What the?" Like, get off my son. And I'm trying to, try to get everybody, get that off my son. And and my husband at the time was like, "Sandy, stop, whatever, try to call me." I'm like, "No, get the fuck off me, So my son, nearly killed this person by, putting him in a chokehold and everything. And I was like, "Heavy, stop, you're gonna kill him," and everything. And after she let go, the boy didn't want no more of him. So somebody said, okay, now it's my turn. I want my turn. And this other boy said, I don't think so. Ain't nobody touch your head. He said, because when stuff is real out here, heaven's always around. He's like, for this, I'm not going to say what gang, for this gang and for this gang. He said, for both of us, ain't nobody touching him. So from there on in, you know what I mean? He was always that top dog after that. Then another time, I'm about to go to the store. I didn't have to get my car because it was a bodega right around the corner. And I smoke cigarettes now at this time, so I started back smoking cigarettes. So I think I went to go get Lucy or something like that. And now my daughter is fighting, and with another girl and stuff like that. But I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So I stop it and everything, and I was like, go ahead, go get in the house and everything. So from that on, from my son and my daughter, it was on after that. No one would ever, people would try him, and they got hurt after that, But then, they would, my son and my daughter, years at, they ended up in detention. They would end up in detention on and off, and with bracelets. And it was extremely hard because, mind you, now I have to go back because the person who I was with, I married, he was coming and going. I was like, what kind of relationship is this? We're married and you're coming and going. We're coming and going. You're coming and going. My kids are acting up. You know what I mean? You're coming and going. This is just way too much. So I moved from the street where I was at, and I moved to another street, which is a good street. It was a very good street. I hurried up and got the heck up out of there. I moved over there. And let me think. Everything is okay, but now, mind you, my son and my daughter, they're both tag teaming me. And they're both both in detention. Both of them are in detention. I got to see them both at the same time with these orange suits or tan suits. So I talked to them both. The father's not around. I'm talking to my kids while they're in detention. Then they both got to come out after that. They both had on bracelets. So I'm like, listen, but they're leaving. And they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not going to school. They're just running amok. And so I had a DCF case because of my kids not listening and doing whatever they wanted to do. Now at this time, the person who I was married with, we wound up getting a divorce. Well, we wound up breaking up. Okay, and I couldn't deal with that, and then my kids at the same time. So that part I just want to leave alone, and then I'm gonna tell you about that at another time. It's because that one right there is where that's where shit hits the fan. So I'm gonna leave you with that story about me, the Black Diamond Misfit, aka She Fancy Huh, aka Miss Fancy Wigs. This is your girl, Black Diamond Misfit. Please like and subscribe, and see you.